Have you ever judged someone by the way they looked, only to discover they were the most important person in the room? Imagine a single father standing outside an office building in the cold, holding a worn briefcase and waiting patiently for 40 long minutes while people walked past him as if he didn't matter. They laughed, ignored him, and treated him like he didn't belong. But before the day was over, every single one of them would realize they had made the biggest mistake of their careers. Sometimes, kindness is tested in the smallest moments. A smile, a little respect, or simply listening to someone can change everything. This is the unforgettable story of a single dad whose quiet patience revealed the true character of everyone around him. Before we begin, welcome to Heartline Stories, where every story reminds us that kindness is stronger than pride. If stories like this touch your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Now, let's begin. Every morning before sunrise, Daniel Brooks woke up to prepare breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Since losing his wife years earlier, she had become the center of his entire world. He braided her hair the best he could, packed her lunch with a handwritten note, and walked her to school before heading to work. Daniel had spent years building Brooks' technology group from a tiny startup into one of the fastest-growing companies in the country. After stepping away for nearly a year to care for his daughter during her serious illness, he had allowed the executive team to manage the company. Very few new employees had ever met the founder. Most only knew his name from old company newsletters. That Monday morning, Daniel decided to visit the headquarters without announcing his arrival. He wanted to see how employees treated ordinary people when they believed no important executives were watching. Wearing a simple blue shirt, faded jacket, and carrying an old leather briefcase, Daniel walked through the front entrance with a warm smile. "Good morning," he said politely to the receptionist. Without even looking up, she answered, "Do you have an appointment?" "No," Daniel replied kindly. "I'd like to see how things are going inside." She rolled her eyes. "I'm sorry, sir. Employees only. You'll have to wait outside." Daniel tried to explain, but another receptionist interrupted. "We're very busy today." The security guard stepped forward. "Please wait outside until someone is available." Daniel nodded gently. "No problem. Thank you." Instead of arguing, he quietly walked outside and sat on a wooden bench near the entrance. Minutes passed. Employees walked in carrying expensive coffee cups and designer bags. Some glanced at Daniel before looking away. A few whispered to each other. "He probably wants a job. Maybe he's at the wrong building. Poor guy." Only one young intern named Emma slowed down. She smiled warmly. "Sir, it's getting cold. Would you like some coffee?" Daniel smiled. "That would be wonderful. Thank you." Emma returned a few minutes later with a hot cup of coffee and a fresh muffin she had bought herself. "You shouldn't have," Daniel said. "My dad always says everyone deserves kindness," Emma replied. Daniel thanked her sincerely. 40 minutes passed. Inside the building, executives prepared for the monthly leadership meeting. Suddenly, the chairman rushed into the conference room looking confused. "Has anyone seen Mr. Brooks?" Everyone looked at each other. "No. He was supposed to arrive this morning." The chairman called Daniel's phone. Outside, Daniel answered calmly. "I'm just outside." "Outside?" the chairman asked. "Why are you outside?" "I've been waiting here for about 40 minutes. The chairman's face turned pale. He sprinted toward the lobby. The receptionist looked surprised as dozens of executives hurried after him. When they reached the entrance, they found Daniel quietly finishing his coffee beside Emma. "Mr. Brooks," the chairman exclaimed. "Why didn't anyone bring you upstairs?" Daniel stood slowly. "I wasn't invited inside." Silence filled the entrance. The receptionists froze. Several managers lowered their heads. Daniel looked around calmly. "I've learned everything I came to learn." Everyone followed him into the boardroom. The atmosphere felt heavy. Daniel stood at the front of the room. When I started this company, I didn't dream about becoming wealthy. He paused. I dreamed about building a workplace where every human being would feel respected. No one spoke. This morning I walked through our own front doors. I smiled. I greeted people politely. I treated everyone with respect. In return, I was ignored, judged, and sent outside. He looked toward the reception desk employees. You never asked my name. You never offered help. You simply assumed I wasn't important. Then Daniel smiled at Emma. But one person reminded me why this company still has hope. Emma looked shocked. You offered kindness without expecting anything in return. Daniel continued. Today isn't about revenge. Everyone looked relieved. But leadership requires accountability. He turned toward the chairman. Anyone who believes respect should only be given to important people is not ready to represent this company. Several senior managers who had encouraged disrespectful behavior were immediately removed from their leadership positions. The reception manager was dismissed for repeatedly violating company values. Others were required to complete customer care and leadership training before returning to work. Then Daniel surprised everyone again. He invited Emma to stand beside him. This young woman demonstrated more leadership in 5 minutes than many executives have shown in years. The room erupted into applause. Emma had tears in her eyes. Months later, Daniel introduced a new company tradition called the first 5 minutes. Every employee, from interns to executives, was expected to personally welcome every visitor with kindness during their first 5 minutes inside the building. The policy transformed the company's culture. Customer satisfaction reached record levels. Employee happiness increased. People no longer cared about expensive suits or job titles. They cared about treating every person with dignity. One afternoon, Lily visited the office after school. She watched employees warmly greeting visitors with smiles. She looked at her father. Dad, everyone seems happier. Daniel smiled. They discovered something very important. What's that? She asked. He gently squeezed her hand. Kindness costs nothing, but it can change someone's entire day. Years later, employees still told the story about the quiet single dad who waited outside his own office for 40 minutes. Not because he fired people, but because he reminded everyone that true leadership begins with compassion. Every person you meet is fighting a battle you cannot see. The stranger standing in front of you today could become the person who changes your life tomorrow. So choose patience over judgment, respect over pride, and kindness over assumptions. In the end, people may forget your position or your success, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Thank you for spending time with Heartline Stories. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes kindness still matters. Until next time, remember that one small act of kindness can create a lifetime of hope.